In this video, we're going to show you how to replace your fog lights on your Dodge Ram located in the lower portion of your bumper. On the back side of the fog light, you're going to find the connector. You're going to open up these little tabs and wiggle that connector off. Separate that like so. I'm going to use our 10mm socket. Loosen this bolt right here. And there's these two right here. Loosen and remove those. Now we go ahead and remove our fog light bezel. There's going to be these little locking tabs on here. It's pretty flexible. What we're going to do is go up on the top here. We're going to press in on one of those here and then push out the fog light bezel through the front. Grab that fog light assembly and slide that out. And go ahead and install our fog light. I'm just going to get our bolts started by hand. Before you tighten these all down, you want to make sure that the light is centered in the front. Then we'll go ahead and finish snugging these down. And make sure that your connectors are lined up and pressed onto the back. Take your factory harness, you're going to line that up, snap that into place, and repeat for the passenger side. Once the passenger side fog light is installed, connect the factory harness, snap that on. Now the red and black wire that we have here are going to go to the halo light on the fog light assembly. I'm going to go ahead and get this wired up next. Now in order to power up our halos on our fog lights, we have our power and ground here. I went ahead and I made up some jumper wires here. Going to connect a red wire to the red jumper and black to black. And on our positive side here, the red wires here, there is an extra jumper wire to run up to the headlight wiring. We're going to plug this in here. And we're going to do the same thing with the black wire. We're going to plug this in, and this has a jumper wire as well. You can go ahead and use some electrical tape here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, protect it from the weather. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the red wire here. Just got to wrap this one up. Now just to keep these wires together, I went ahead and wrapped this with electrical tape, and this is going to get tied up behind our bumper. And now go ahead and repeat the process for the other side. You're going to locate your fuse box right on the driver's side of the vehicle. You're going to come down here and you're going to locate this little plastic screw tab here or retainer. And use a Phillips head screwdriver, unscrew the center. You pop out the center of that. You can gently pull up. You can pull out that bottom base. I'm just going to use a little trim tool here to pop this out. And go ahead and set that aside. Right here, you're going to find a 13mm bolt. I'm going to go ahead and loosen and remove that. Take that fuse box and you're going to push it towards the passenger side, lift up, and just swing that away. Using our 10mm socket and an extension, we're going to go ahead underneath the headlamp to this bolt right here. We're going to loosen and remove this bolt. On our lower bolt here, on the driver's side, there is a temperature sensor attached to this here. You will not find this on the passenger side, just the driver. We're going to use our 10mm socket. There's one up top here. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, go ahead and loosen the center of this plastic retainer. We're going to use a trim tool to go ahead and get behind here and pop this out. Remove that, set that aside. Then we're going to use our trim tool right between the headlamp and the fender so we don't mark up the paint on this vehicle. And on the inside, we're going to reach in and press down those little tabs and pop the lamp out. That's going to allow us to go ahead and bring that headlamp straight out. On the bottom of our lamp, there's a little plastic tab that is catching on our bumper trim. So just use your plastic tool here. Go ahead and move that out and slide this out like so. And grab your parking light, turn that counterclockwise and pop it out. I want to remove the connector off of our headlight, so we're just going to use our little pick here to open up these tabs. Disconnect that and then set the headlight aside. On your headlight connector, you want to go ahead and peel back the tape here. We want to be able to open up the plastic wire loom here to access the wires. Peel back the wire loom. We're simply going to trim off the excess here. Discard of that. There are 3 wires here. There is a black with a blue tracer stripe. There is a white with a blue tracer stripe and a white with a green tracer stripe. What we want is the white and blue. White and blue is going to be the low beam. The black and blue is going to be the ground. Now ideally when you're doing wiring, it's best to go ahead and solder your wires together. What you'd want to do is strip back a little bit of the sheathing, cut this wire, strip this back, join it together and solder it, and then tape it up. In our case here, we're going to go ahead and use a Scotch lock unit. So what you want to do is take your red wire, which is going to be the power wire for your halos. Make sure you have enough room, some slack in there so you're not pulling too tight on that lower harness. Go ahead and cut that wire. What we want is the white wire with the blue stripe or blue tracer. I'm going to go ahead and take this wire right here, feed that in, and take that other wire. I'm going to feed this in. Might be easier to feed the other wire in first. You want to make sure that that wire is inside on both. And what this unit is going to do is actually going to connect the power from that white with the blue stripe to that red wire there, which is going to power up the lights down below. Pinch that down, snap that over. Now with that connected, we want to go ahead and do the black wire, but you don't want to do it right next to it. You want to do it further up. That way there isn't a big clump of connectors in one spot. Give it a little tug, make sure that's locked in. Go ahead and secure that up. Now if you want, you can go ahead and wrap these in electrical tape. I'm going to simply use some wire ties here to go ahead and tie this up. Keep this harness nice and clean. Now you won't be able to use that wire loom that we had pulled back, so we're simply going to snip that so we don't have any excess hanging down. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and wrap this up with electrical tape and neaten that up. Let's go ahead and connect our units here to our headlight. Go ahead and connect your headlight connector. Go ahead and install your parking light here. Let's go ahead and install that headlamp. Go ahead and push your headlamp into place. I'm going to go ahead and install our bolts here. Don't forget your temperature sensor on this side here. I did put a little dab of grease on those bolts there just to help get them in there and get them started. Before we tighten these down, we're going to go ahead and get the third bolt installed over by the fender. I went ahead and I put that bolt on our socket. I'm going to try and feed that in, get that into place. And once that bolt bottoms out, just give it about another quarter turn. You don't want to over tighten it and break that plastic tab. Then we can come back over here and we can snug these two bolts down. Once that bolt bottoms out, just give it another quarter turn and you're good. Now that we have everything wired up, let's go ahead and test everything. The halo should come on with our low beam light. There's our fog light and halo. Now we went ahead and we're going to wrap our harness in some wire loom. Go ahead and do this across the whole front. Get that wire tucked up inside that loom. Now when running your wires here, you can either run them on the front side of the frame horn here. In our case here, we're just going to use our wire tie unit, our little strap. I'm going to pull this through like that. I'm going to go ahead and secure this up like so. I'm going to continue to run these straps across the front to secure the rest of the harness and tuck it up out of the way.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.